It was just the other day when we were talking about YG Treasure Box and how the boys were picked and not picked. And ever since then, so much has come out that changes a lot of things. First of all, the unsurprising news is that the new boy group will be called Treasure. But right after that announcement, YG put out on social media that there will be a second group, a second lineup that will also debut and follow Treasure. 6 members this time, and what are the chances that they'll be called Box? Is that something that is being considered? Because I need to know. Actually, you know what they'll do? They'll abbreviate it to make it look cooler. BOX. Boys of X Factor. Because they have that special X Factor. Boom. YG, no need to send me a check. Just front row seats and a backstage pass to the Blackpink tour will do. Obviously, I'm kidding, but also a bit scared that that could actually be a possibility. So yeah, anyways, they're iconing this again. But luckily, I don't think they'll have to go through another survival show. Hopefully, I didn't just jinx it. And from this announcement, everyone is just going crazy on their keyboards about who they want to debut and things like that. Please put in this guy or that guy, have this lineup, and trust me, I did it too. I'm right there with you guys. Keita, Byunggun, Junhyuk, and before I go on, I'm super happy for those who get to debut, even though I feel like they're a bit too young, but that's another thing unto itself. But when we take a step back and look at the situation, is this really good news? Think about it. Whenever this second group debuts, YG will have 4 boy groups. Winner, Icon, Treasure, and you know what? Let's call them Box for now, BOX. And not only that, but don't forget that there was a random report of them wanting to do a Treasure Box 2. Remember, to find the next Blackpink. Is that still on the table? And if we're to believe that report, it's not going to happen later on in the year. It's shortly after Treasure Box Season 1. So that would be 4 boy groups and 2 girl groups including Blackpink. But wait, there's more. There's another wrinkle in this. If they do the same thing here with Treasure Box 2, meaning 2 lineups, 2 new lineups from one show, and if you're keeping count here, that's 4 boy groups and 3 girl groups under YG. 7 groups. Not just 7 groups, but 7 active groups. For those who are not satisfied that Blackpink doesn't get enough attention from the company, or the same complaint for Winner, Icon, Seungri, how do you feel about this? Are you still excited for these new groups, or are you worried? Or maybe even hopeful, maybe even excited. I know fans are still clamoring for a full album from Blackpink, and I feel like this doesn't exactly help the cause. Because when this happened with Winner and Icon a few years ago, it was a different situation, right? The YG landscape was completely different and quickly changing. First of all, Blackpink didn't exist. 21 were pretty much done. Big Bang were finishing up their Made run before they were going off into the military. Man, that felt like yesterday. I can listen to that album all day, by the way. I don't know if you guys use Spotify, but if you do, you know the end of the year report where it shows you all your stats, like most listened and things like that? Well, the artist I listened to the most last year was apparently Big Bang. So yeah, that made me pretty happy. Anyways, getting sidetracked here. So yeah, Big Bang were about to leave for the military. No girl groups at that time. Yes, you also had Akmu and Lehigh, but obviously groups are a big thing. So with all that happening around that time, 2 new boy groups was maybe even necessary. And if it didn't make sense, it makes a lot more sense than it does now. Because all of them, Winner, Icon, Blackpink, Treasure, all of these groups are currently active, or will be. But here's the thing though, we don't know anything about this second boy group lineup yet. Well, at least at the time I'm recording this. So if new information has come out by the time you're listening, feel free to let me know. Actually, as I'm recording this, it's right before they're announcing the first member. So everything I say here could just totally be dated. I mean, you guys already know at this point. I mean, maybe it could be an all Japanese lineup headed by Keita, including Mashiho and the others. Because if so, that would kind of make sense. They would be promoting in 2 different markets. And just kind of veering off to the side for a second, that's why this news of JYP debuting 4 groups in 2019 didn't really shock me. Because there have been rumors for a long time that they're wanting to do an all-Japanese girl group. And then a couple of days later, they announced that JYP was teaming up with Sony Music for a Japanese girl group project. So I'm guessing that might be one of the 4 that's planned. Because if it's 4 Korean groups, that's just, whoa, overkill. But here's why I think JYP's situation is a bit different. If you watched his presentation and conversation with the stockholders and investors, the way they operate has changed dramatically. JYP 2.0. It's optimized to be able to handle multiple promotions at any given time. So, if you haven't listened to it, JYP basically started the strategy out with TWICE. He calls it a task force. Everything dealing with TWICE, music, shows, fan signs, concerts, marketing, merchandise, everything is handled by one specific and separate team. That team's sole focus is TWICE, and that's why the girls have so many comebacks. And when they're not promoting in Korea, they're promoting in Japan. I'm sure ITZY will have the same thing. And another thing that makes this possible is that JYP has established his own publishing company. Now, you must be asking, well, KJ, what is he publishing? Books? No, kids. It's not books. It's basically his own production team. A whole floor in the building dedicated to, I think, 7 other producers and himself to focus on producing quality music quicker. Just so they don't have to go out and outsource demos and things like that. How will this turn out? We'll see. Seems to be working for TWICE, but when you add other groups into this blueprint, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? But I bring this up because I don't know if YG has anything like this in place, if they're equipped for this. Not because they can't, but just because they haven't shown us that they do. I mean, they only send 2 backup dancers to Seungri's concert, for goodness sakes. But I know they have the resources. And if they do have something like this in place, it's being kept a secret. Kind of like how JYP kept it a secret for a while. If you look at a lot of YG's latest hits, they're produced by either Teddy, their new star producer Millennium, or by the groups themselves. So is their strategy to let each group take reign producing and writing their own music? Because I don't know if Millennium and Teddy can just churn out that much music while still maintaining the quality they've produced so far. And another thing is that Teddy's hands are definitely tied up in other things. Not only is he a producer under YG, but he's the head of the Black Label. The same label that signed Somi and even has its own trainees like Julie Han. By the way, do you guys consider Somi a YG artist? She's technically a Black Label signee, but I guess the Black Label is technically under YG. So maybe she technically is, but the true answer lies with whoever really has the final say over things, right? Does Teddy have to answer to YG whenever he does something with his artist or trainees? Or does he have total creative control over anything under the Black Label? I hope that's the case. In my mind, whenever I think Somi, I think of the Black Label now. But that's just me. Anyways, it just all depends on how they go about this. If Treasure Box 2 is still in the works, what that'll be, a lot of things. I mean, managing 5, 6, 7 groups can be done. Look at SM. Just from a boy group standpoint, they have Super Junior, SHINee, EXO, all the NCTs. I think Wavy counts as well. So, were you satisfied with the quantity and quality of everything you got from those groups? Or whichever one you were a fan of? Not just music, but concerts, variety shows, everything like that. Because if you were satisfied with that, it gives people a lot of hope for this as well. Man, I did not realize how many boy groups SM had until I said it out loud. With all that, again, I'm happy to see some of these guys get a second chance to debut, so go Box. And you know what? Whenever this comes out, the first member for that group will be announced, so let's talk about it in the comments.